Yeah, that's better.
All right.
Cool.
All right. Today we're talking to Jayson Mathieu from innonpeaks. I've been going to innonpeaks for, I don't know, over a decade.
Yeah.
And you've been there quite a long time as the event coordinator.
Yeah, I just celebrated 12 years.
Oh,
Wow.
wow. It's so,
Yeah.
what keeps you going? And, how did you get started there? But how did you stumble upon innonpeaks?
Good question. I was actually living in New York City for 13 years. So
Right.
I moved there straight out of college
Mhm.
to pursue an acting career.
I knew that.
And I was an actor waiter and then worked in the restaurant scene, of course. And then I ended up branching out and running a catering company where we did special events and weddings. So
In New York.
In New York City.
Yep.
And I did work for Bobby Flay for 10 years.
I knew that. I was going to ask you, that's on one of my questions.
Yeah, so
That's
Mesa
cool.
Grill on 5th Avenue and 15th. And then after that, I started doing events and weddings, and then my theater background and food backgrounds just sort of came together, and it was a great fit.
Yeah.
And then I decided to move back to Maine, and I was like, I don't know if I want to do this anymore because it does take over your life.
Mhm.
But
What do you mean by this?
this event business that we're
Sure.
in,
Yeah, it does.
yeah. But I wasn't necessarily looking for this at all, but one of my best friends lives on Peaks Island, and she said, oh, they just let go of their event person, and you got to go out there. And I'm like, there is no way I'm going to work on Peaks Island. And 12 years later, I'm still here.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, it's kind of funny how the hospitality business is really similar to acting almost.
Yes.
You do have to sort of sometimes put on an act, especially like in September and October when you're tired. But I see you there, greeting guests and
Well, and it always comes from a genuine place, and I
Yeah.
think sometimes you're just exhausted, but the bride shows up. This could be wedding number 3 of the weekend, and the bride shows up and she's super excited, gets me excited, and I'm like, let's do this. And
Yeah.
I love it. You have to love this job.
You really do. And it's funny, it's almost like a play.
Yeah.
If you think about it, because you've got the getting ready, the green room, the getting ready, the hair and
Mhm.
makeup. You've got the performance. Well, you've got the rehearsal the night before. You've got the green room. You've got the performance, which is the wedding. Then you have the cast party.
Yes.
So, yeah. So it does. I can see how it totally fits you.
Yeah. And everybody has a part to play. And that's the thing, every guest who comes through the door is important to me. And I want to make sure that everyone is having a great time. So,
Mhm.
we need like the vendors, we need the guests, like everyone needs to come together for this perfect day. And,
Yeah. And you make everybody feel so comfortable. 'Cause honestly, when I'm so glad. I mean, it's a lot to get out to Peaks Island, but I'm so glad to have a Peaks Island, Peaks wedding, because you're like family. I walk in the door and you give me a hug, and you're just so warm, and you're perfect for the job.
Thank you. Thank you.
I feel
And the thing is, when like Kim shows up, I'm thrilled. Like when you have vendors that you work with all the
Yeah.
time, you don't have to worry about things or
Right.
babysit in a sense.
Mhm.
Oh my
And
gosh, definitely.
yeah, what I've come to find is as far as islands go, it's the most accessible.
In Maine,
the
for
ferry
sure.
runs
Sure.
from 6 o'clock in the morning until midnight. And we got the car ferry for the band, DJ, and things that just, I can't say there's never any hiccups, but it usually just works seamlessly.
It's
Yeah,
really smooth. I mean, it's not any worse than any other traffic.
Now, have you shot out here before?
I have. I worked with Kim as a second shooter several years ago now.
Was it the wedding of the year?
No,
Probably.
that's right there. See
I
that?
can see.
That-
You got
that's-
two cover pictures from Peaks Island. That's great.
That's so cool, Kim.
Oh, yeah, I
didn't know
do.
that 2
That's
of those
right.
were from Peaks. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. And the other, yeah. My trophies.
Well, being
Your
on an
trophy.
island, you have the advantage of having the sun from every angle, as long as you're just going around the edge.
Yeah. And then the sun sets right over the water facing Portland.
Yeah, the
So I'm
sunset.
sure Kim has shot numerous amazing photos from this point of view.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, sunsets on the coast of Maine are such a trick. So to have the island facing in the other direction without obstruction,
Yeah.
flat ocean in front of you makes all the difference.
And
Oh,
then
yeah.
at night, you can see Portland glittering in the backdrop.
It's
So
so
beautiful.
Yeah.
so beautiful.
So Jason, where do you live? Do you live on the island or do you live in the city?
I live in the city. So yeah, I'm a 5-minute walk to the ferry,
Ah.
which is super convenient. So I don't have to worry about parking. And if someone wants to come out for a quick tour, I'm like, all right, I'll meet you at the boat. Let's go.
What is the most outlandish, unconventional, extravagant sort of wedding that you've ever done? Is there anything that really, really stands out? Or what is the most crazy situation? Because I know of a photographer that shot out there during a hurricane. Didn't Patty
Yes, she did.
shoot out there during a hurricane? That
Yeah.
must have been wild.
And then their specialty cocktail became, guess
The
what?
hurricane.
The hurricane. They just rolled with it.
That sounds
There
great.
was one wedding where the bride and the groom weren't really communicating, and they both thought that the officiant was at the venue, and I didn't see the officiant anywhere. So
Oh, no.
I was a bit confused because they were both certain that she was here. And then I made the mistake of going to the bride
Mhm.
and telling her that the officiant, like, she was ready to go. She was in line, ready to march out.
Oh my God, it was
And-
that close to the ceremony?
Well, the thing is, she didn't wait for me. You know, that was the problem. You know,
Oh.
she was just like gung ho, we're gonna do this. And then I had to say, we just need to hold up because we're still waiting on the officiant. And it was not a pretty sight. And so then all of a sudden I see some woman walking up the hill, and she thought the wedding was at Jones Landing.
Oh.
And she wasn't here for the rehearsal. So next thing you know, she shows up and I said, oh, wonderful. We're all ready to go. Everyone's ready. She's like, I got to go back and get my stuff.
Oh.
Go back where? To the ferry?
No, back to Jones Landing. She like set up there, and
Oh
then
my
you know,
God.
there was probably like a 10-minute delay, which in the grand
Oh.
scheme of things, not much.
No, but
And
did
then-
she realize there were no guests around when she was setting up and no people around?
Well, the funny thing is, she actually came back this season, and she made a joke about it. And she's
Yeah.
like, I'm here. I double checked. And so,
Do most of the guests stay there?
well, we can only sleep 40 people here. So, you know, our weddings average about 120 to 150, I'd say.
Mhm.
So most often, like sometimes the older family stays here and everyone goes back to town for an after party. But there are Airbnbs out here as well. So we had a
Right.
wedding for 150 people, and they had 120 people staying out here in various
Oh
houses.
my God.
Yeah, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah. Is there a noise ordinance out there? Is there a time limit?
Yes, so 10:15 is the witching hour. So 10:15 is a hard stop.
Mhm.
And then, you know, they can migrate to the pub next door, and they stay open till about 11:15. And then the last ferry of the night is 11:55.
Right. But the music has to stop at 10:15.
10:15.
Hmm.
Which I think is like a reasonable time. I know of some venues that probably end 9.
No, I think it's
early.
usually 10. 10
Is it?
seems to be.
Yeah, 10 is really
Yeah.
common. I mean, that's a good time for any party to end, frankly, I think.
Agreed. Yeah.
Now that I'm old. I used to go out at 10.
Oh my God, I know. Yeah.
Hey, you're talking to a former New Yorker where the
Right,
bars
you
close
know,
at 4
You
o'clock.
know. Yeah, no, it was like, why would you go out before 11? That's ridiculous.
Right.
What is that? Can you tell me more about Bobby Flay? Like, how did you start working for Bobby Flay? That's so cool.
Well, when I
Right.
first moved to New York, I was working at Pizzeria Uno, Chicago Bar and Grill by the
Really?
mall. Yeah, by the mall. And then they had a transfer program. So when I moved to New York, I showed up to the Uno's in the East Village, and they had me take a menu test, and they were like, you're hired. This is great.
You're a genius. You know everything about Pizza Uno's.
Yeah, like because they ran a tight ship at South
Really?
Portland Uno's.
Huh.
So I knew my stuff, but then they closed at like 2:00 in the morning. I wouldn't get out until like 3:30. And then
the bars were closed. So what's the point?
Yeah. So no, we would go for last call for sure. But then I just quit without a job. And then one of our regulars at the bar, he was the bartender for Bobby Flay at Mesa Grill. And he heard I was out of work and he's like, have him come by. So I showed up and they hired me on the spot.
Oh, so you worked for him at his restaurant?
Yes.
I
was the expediter in the kitchen.
What does that mean?
So I was the one who, got the final plates from the chef, had to make sure they were all perfect, and then send them out to the runners. And then I trained everybody with the menu. So I had to learn all the, the menu, specific menu items and all the chili peppers and sauces. So every staff that came in, I gave them training with that and then oversaw like the whole dinner service.
Oh, so you really have a background in food.
Well,
prep.
A little bit.
You're a great cook, right?
Yeah, right.
So did you have to like make the plates look really pretty, like drizzle?
No, well, they were pretty much finished, but I would do like the final garnish, make sure the rims were clean. So it my OCD took off to like from a 5 to a 10. So then now it's like I notice everything. So and I want everything to be perfect, which I think makes me well suited for this.
Jayson, let's see. What are some of your favorite features about innonpeaks? Like, I don't know. Tell me, is there something I don't know about it? Some super secret, special, like little, you're like, why don't people notice this? This is amazing. Why is this not celebrated?
First of all, I have a menagerie of trees that I've accumulated that I'm extremely proud of, especially my banana plants. And Kim,
those are hard. Those are very challenging.
And I have been growing them for about 6 years. And they are
potted plants or outdoors?
Well, they're all potted and they're all inside the room that I'm speaking to you now in. And I don't know if you
give us a banana plant tour.
Yes. Because
that's a banana. What is that?
This is Brian. I'm kidding. No, this is one of my bananas. And all of these are outside in our gardens, but I do have a bunch of hibiscus trees, which not the best time of year.
Those hibiscus?
And I do have some. I'm not doing the best job with this, but.
So these are all your plants. Who knew?
This is my new baby here, the bird of paradise.
Ooh.
Has it bloomed?
No, but this is taller than me.
You've had them for 6 years.
Yes, they're all my babies. Yes. You'll have to, next time you're here, I'll introduce you to them.
Please do.
I can't wait to finally meet Brian in person.
Brian, he's right over there. But all of these here, they can't wait to get outside.
Yeah, they won't be shocked by the outdoor sun.
Well, no, we wait. It's a whole process. I've made mistakes before, so I've learned from them.
Have you ever murdered a plant?
No, but kids did hurt one of my banana trees, and I don't know. They ripped off 2 of the giant leaves, and this was at the rehearsal dinner. And I tried to keep my composure, which I did, but it was, I did 911 to our landscaper plant lady. And I'm like, you need to come with soil tomorrow, first thing. And now it's doing well. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
You really like your plants.
Yeah, I do. I do.
Yeah, I love that little area.
Oh, it's so good.
It's like a
Jayson, we've lost your audio.
Oh.
I can't hear you. Oh, there you are again. It works.
That's like my little studio. I love to take the bridal party in there and have
Ugh,
it lay on the couch.
the lighting is so good in that room, and it's just decorated perfectly. It's so beautiful.
And I had to fight to get that couch, that
The
ornate
best,
couch,
Where did you get
most
that?
special couch in the world. That's
because it was
perfect for
like,
weddings.
why do you need that? And then the first day, the first wedding that we had after it arrived, it stole the show.
Oh,
Obviously.
Everyone's taking pictures, and then
Obviously.
my boss was there, and I said,
uh-oh. He's frozen.
That's a good place to be frozen.
I unplugged my laptop is like no battery life, and when I walked around, I didn't plug it back in.
Oh, my
Daisy.
God. That's
Yes.
funny. What were we talking about?
The couch.
the
The
couch.
couch. So good.
But I said that's why I wanted to get that couch.
I
Yes.
love those little conversation areas that are set up at
Yes.
various weddings. So how do they find you? Do they find you? Is it word of mouth? Do they find you online, or do they just happen to be stumbling past In on Peaks, swimming past,
All of the above.
boating
But
past
you know,
In on Peaks?
Wedding Wire has been a great, search engine tool for us, and
Mhm.
we've been on there for quite some time. And I get, numerous inquiries daily. But sometimes it's like, hey, I know someone who got it's like that 6 degree of separation where, this person knows someone who got married at the end.
Yeah.
And at this point, I think I've done like a little over 500 weddings at this place.
Wow.
So,
Do they ever come back? After like on their anniversary, do they want to come back and stay and bring their kids?
always.
That's
So
so cool.
especially, let's say it's like I have a wedding going on, and then all of a sudden the host comes, Jayson, there's someone here to see you. And I know it's going to be a couple. And then I go out there, and then sometimes, next thing you know, they have a kid, and
Mhm.
I get to see the baby. Or
Yeah.
12 years, some of them are almost teenagers.
Yeah,
It's great. But every summer, like they're coming in and out. Sometimes they stay here for their anniversary, and yeah, so that's pretty awesome.
that's cool. That would be a very cool part of the job. Does anyone ever book In on Peak sight unseen? They've never been there
Yes.
before, and they're there for the first time at their wedding?
Yes. Well, it's been a couple times where, they book sight unseen. They live across the country, and then they don't see the place until like the 2
Rehearsal?
days before.
Wow.
And so, of course, you want them to fall in love with the place, and they've seen pictures, but it's just not the same.
Mm.
But
It's like
every
the
time
first
they come,
look for Peaks Island.
Yeah. In the end, like they come and they're like, oh my God, this is great.
It's so great. I mean, you've just got a gem there.
Thank you. Thank you.
And
I do love it. I do love it.
this is probably the only venue that we come out to just in our free time.
That's true. That's
And
right.
we go
yes.
and we bicycle around the island. Dave and I and the girls. Lexi, you've been with us a couple
I have.
times.
It's wonderful.
bike
I
around
can't
the
wait to go
island.
back again. When was the inn built?
I think it's a little over 20 years old, and there used to be actually a gas station here, which
Wow.
yeah, and
What
I
an
used to come out.
improvement.
Wait, at In on Peaks, there was a gas station?
There was a gas station,
Oh,
and then they built this, and there was a restaurant, the Big Fish Grill, and I'm probably not getting the history exactly right, but and then Shipyard Brewery ended up buying the place, I think 17 or 18 years ago. And so yeah, we're owned by the brewery of Shipyard.
Shipyard owns you still?
Yeah.
huh. Oh, I didn't know that.
Me
Huh.
neither.
Do they give you free beer?
I'm drinking one now.
You are not. So do most of the guests take one boat over and they sort of all get off that same boat at once? And they all, which I think would make it easier for first look and that kind of thing for the photographer.
Yes. So depending on the guest count, usually if it's like 100 plus, it varies. It does make it so much easier because you can rent your own boat through Casco Bay Lines and charter everyone over. And it's mainly just to get everyone here for the ceremony, and then they can hop on any boat throughout the evening.
to get home. What are some of the latest trends that you've been seeing lately?
Longer toasts.
Don't get me started.
So,
That's a trend you've been seeing lately?
yeah. So, after everyone's been cooped up and you finally bring everyone
Oh,
together,
from COVID. Yeah.
People have a lot more to be grateful for and a lot more to say. And it's a beautiful thing, but you're like, okay, should we take some breaks so we can get dinner served? Like, how long are these gonna be? I think we had a 45-minute one from Dad. I mean, I know it was 45 minutes.
Wow.
He was grateful. What can you say?
That's interesting because that's part of the reason why we're doing this show, because we have different segments on various things, and that's one of them. Because that right there, what you just described, can cost them money because it delays everything, and then I have to stay. The photographers have to stay later. It's gonna cost them another hour, probably.
It definitely costs them money, and it costs them their vision as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's a long time for the guests.
He's like, yes,
they're
I know.
hungry.
And that's not the record, but luckily they were after dinner, and I think it was an hour and 20 minutes.
No, because the guests is just sitting there, like, but they had eaten already, so that's good.
They had eaten, so I was like, all right,
It's really hard for the photographer because we have to, even though we probably only use 1 or 2 photos from that speech, we have to stand out there and pretend like we're taking pictures, because you can't just go sit down in the back room. The bride and groom will think, well, they're not, where's the photographer?
But there were some times where they missed the sunset shot.
Oh,
Because
of
I'm watching the sun, this brilliant sunset, and I'm like,
yeah.
That's something that I talk to my couples about is speeches and who's giving them, and to talk to the people who might be giving them and talk to them about what your desires are. And I suggest that they definitely write their speeches down and practice them and time them, because you just can't believe how long it might take.
Yeah.
When you have vendors that you work with quite a bit, you can sort of navigate a lot easier. So in this case, I think it was DJ Kevin, and I'm like, look, right after this toast, kill it. I serve dinner. I'm gonna go tell people, hey, we're gonna pick up the toast after.
So you went up to the DJ booth during the toast to tell them, yeah. Every little thing eats into the time, like the bustling. Practice bustling.
Practice the bustling. Yeah, bustling is on my resume.
Yeah.
It's been too much fun, Jayson.
Likewise.
It has been fun.
All right.
Thank you so much for talking with us.
All right. Well, happy Friday, TJIF.
Yeah, you too. Take care, Jayson.
All right.
Bye, Jayson.
Bye.
Like it like that.